All right, how's everyone doing tonight? We are back at it again. Feels like all this Mac and Journey stuff. It seems like I think this is our 500th one we've done. It seems like so far this year, but we're excited to be doing this. I'd say I'm probably a little bit more excited considering that Driftless Glen is in my home state of Wisconsin. So I'm happy that it's finally starting to get out to the masses as to really kind of the great things that they're doing. And we've got Justin Sharpie, who's in here from Driftless tonight, who will kind of give us a little idea of what it is that he does, what they do at Driftless, and then we'll kind of get into picking some barrels. And the idea is, I believe, Jason, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're doing both the bourbon and the rye. We're picking one of both, right?
Yeah. I think we were going to be trying. Well, first it was the bourbon, but then they sent the rye along to taste. And if we find a really good rye we love, then we can grab one of those too.
Well, I can guarantee you we're going to find a good one of those. I can tell you that. So tonight we've got basically an all Wisconsin crew outside of the Columbus outlier. We felt we better include him considering he's part of the deal here. So. But it should be fun. And really the plan was to try to get as many, Wisconsin guys that we can put a couple of really good barrels together, get them off to everybody else that, has been kind of asking for these picks. So we're excited to be finally doing this. So we've got a good crew in here tonight, and we're going to do our best to get you a good bourbon and a rye. So anybody want to say anything before we get going, and we can kick it off? Jason, do you have anything at all?
No, just want to thank everyone for everyone that's coming on to help us out. Thanks to Driftless Glen for sending these along and letting us get in on one of these. The whole thing started is when me and Scott we were in Kentucky, and Scott blinded me with a Driftless Glen, and I put it in a blind tasting, and it was easily number one for me against some pretty stiff competition. And I was like, we got to try to get one of these because this stuff is absolutely phenomenal. So I want to thank you guys for hooking us up, and we can't wait to pick a couple of great barrels for the patrons.
Yep, we're really looking forward to it. I knew I had to get something to Jason, blind him without him knowing exactly what it was. And I don't let him live it down at all. I can tell you that. I'm like, what was that you picked number one again? What was that? But, all right, so we won't waste any more time. So from Driftless Glen, we've got Justin Sharpie. I guess, Justin, do you want to kind of tell everyone a little bit about yourself and kind of what's going on at Driftless these days?
Sure, yeah, why not? So my name is Justin Sharpie. I'm on paper would be considered the regional sales manager. So I oversee all of our offsite sales for the state of Wisconsin, meaning on any given day, you can find me running around to a Woodman's, to a Hy-Vee, to a restaurant, to a bar, assisting our distributors in any way possible, whether it's pitching barrels, whether it's filling shelves, whether it's building displays, all of that fun stuff. On top of that, I believe, Scott, you and I probably first met would have been at probably a special event of sorts. Yep. If I had to guess, it was probably about 4 years ago. Boy, time flies.
It does.
That would have been when we just launched our Bourbon and Rye. It would have only been 2 years old at the time.
Yep.
And, to sit back and hear the really nice compliments from all of you guys and other people around the country and in our home state of Wisconsin. It's really neat to see how far we've been able to come in the days of, going to events and people who are maybe 30 minutes from our distillery in the state walk up to my table and go, "What is this? Where are you guys from?"
Yep.
What? Huh? And now it's really cool when I go to some special events. People are like, "Oh my gosh, we've been there and your food's amazing and the restaurant's great. We love your location." So we're a family-owned and operated craft distillery nestled on the banks of the Baraboo River. So for those of you that aren't familiar with where Baraboo, Wisconsin is, we're about 15 minutes from the Wisconsin Dells. If you're not familiar with the Dells, we're about an hour from Madison. If you're not familiar with Madison, well, let's just call it 2 hours from Chicago. If you don't know where Chicago is, there's not much I can do for you there. So we started 6 years ago, and we're owned by a husband and wife by the name of Brian and Renee Bemis. Two amazing people. People always ask us, jeepers, what the heck do they do? that allows you to have such an amazing facility, i.e. we have a 42-foot Vendome column still on site, a 550-gallon copper pot Vendome, a 350-gallon stainless still on our location. That's not some cheap pieces of art, if you will. So Brian's background is he owns a number of car dealerships in the Chicagoland area. So if anybody's ever been to DeKalb Sycamore and seen Brian Bemis Auto Group, that would be Brian's background there. Which, as you can imagine, it's so much fun being in sales and having an owner who's a career car salesman. There's not a whole lot of attaboys going around the table at our sales meetings. It's always, well, you sold 2 barrels. Why couldn't you sell 4? I'm like, sorry, Brian, they only wanted 2. If you guys want 4, though, I can make that happen.
Yeah.
So again, so Brian and Renee do run the day-to-day. Because of COVID, Brian kind of had to dive back into the car dealerships 100% of the time. So Renee does run the day-to-day 110%. I report directly to her, which actually makes us one of the only craft distilleries owned by a female, which is pretty neat. All of our booze now, our bourbon and rye, is all well over 5 years old. As you guys, I apologize off the top of my head, Scott. What are the ages on these things right now?
Yeah, so basically we're like with a couple of the bourbons, we're approaching the 6 year, but we're definitely 5.5 on almost all of the bourbons, and same thing with the rye too. We're right in that 5.5 ish, almost 6 years on the rye. So some really nice ages on all of them. And
if you correct me if I'm wrong. So just so you guys know, the rye will definitely be out of a 30-gallon barrel, and the bourbon will be a 53 to the best of my knowledge. So, unfortunately, I believe we laid down a little. We misjudged, I think, the rye segment and laid down just a ton of rye when we first opened. And so we have plenty of 30-gallon ryes to go around for probably the next year, and then we'll be into 53s in our rye. But we're on to 53s in our bourbon. And again, it was really neat after the first of the year that we kind of stepped into the 53-gallon world, right? And 5 years plus, it kind of puts you in that neck.
Yeah, so we're good. So all right, well, why don't we dive in? We'll start with the bourbon, and then if along the way, if anyone has any questions or anything, fire away, and we'll keep an eye on the chat, see what we've got going on there. But yeah, let's have fun. This is what it's all about.
Yep.
All right.
For those of you that do care at all, so as far as a mash bill goes on this bourbon, guys, it's going to be 60 corn, 20 rye, 20 malt. And it is going to be at cast strength, right? Which is, I'm assuming, the route you're going to want to go anyway, correct?
It was, because now we've seen some of them before where they're doing single barrels, but proofed either down to 125. But if we're right, and I don't know if Shem is in here or whoever is in here right now, Tony, I don't know if anyone's in, but I think we're doing these all at cast strength. We're not going to proof this down to 125, right?
No, so I'd say 120 to 125 is going to be our cast strength.
Okay, it is. Okay, because I've seen some of the bottles, a lot of the picks are just say straight across the board 125 proof, but I wasn't sure if we were going to actually go the straight proof on them.
Well, that is right out of the barrel. So our entry proof is 117.
Okay.
So 125 is going to be. I haven't seen anything pop off that we do cast strength, right? That comes out hotter than 125.
Gotcha.
Our typical, like when my big grocery stores do barrel picks, right? Not a lot of them like going cast strength. They don't want to freak, with sometimes the general consumer, you go selling them cast strength and it blows their doors off. And they're like, whoa, this does not taste like the Driftless Glen bourbon I had before. I could run my weed whacker off this stuff. But obviously with all the whiskey groups, you guys all love doing the cast strength. So
yeah, we'll put it in the other people's hands. If they want to proof it down, we'll let them do that. So,
I like that. I really like that mash bill. I like 60. I like the high rye, and also like the fact that it's kind of higher in the malt category as well. So that's a really interesting mash bill we haven't really had yet. So this is great.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing. Like I would say, you almost see nobody doing that high of a barley percentage for the most part. So it's high on both. I mean, relatively high rye, and really nicely pretty high on the on the barley as well. So,
Yeah, I mean, when we did the old elk pick, I think they kind of went through. They use a really nice high barley content. We found some really great profiles in there. So interesting. I love the high rye, high malt. So should get some great flavor. And these are already. I mean, these are crazy dark.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So a lot of the feedback I normally get in these situations, right, is man, that coloring is phenomenal for the age. We do use a pretty aggressive char, right? So we use a char level 4 to kind of combat those harsh winters, right? Our rick house is not climate controlled. So you guys know the drill. Once it kind of drops below 55, these barrels aren't doing a gosh darn thing for the entire winter. We are in the process of blowing out the walls on the side of our rick house and looking to do a climate controlled rick house. So we'll have a non and a climate to kind of try to manipulate some of that weather. Some of our competition in Wisconsin currently does that. Just try to get those barrels to move a little more. Because, again, you guys know the drill. When people ask, what's the difference between, let's say, you and a new riff? Honestly, the climate, for those of you that haven't been to our distillery, I mean, I just don't have a sexy zip code, to be honest with you. If it's in Louisville, Kentucky on our postage stamp, we'd be really off and running. And I believe, to the best of my knowledge, we actually have a pretty similar layout and setup as a new riff. I believe. I want to say they're only got 42-foot column, and we have just over 4,500 barrels laying down right now. So if you guys really like this stuff, tell your friends. I've got all the barrels you can handle.
we're gonna do our part tonight. That's for sure. So
All right, guys.
all right, let's dive into it. So
Justin, I don't want to get too technical, but one real quick question. The rye that you use, is that a sweeter type of rye?
God, sweeter type of rye.
It's a crazy question.
I would have to ask Max for you. I've never been asked that question in my 4 years. A sweeter type of rye.
Because there's some ryes that you don't get the bite out of them as you would it's hard to explain. I'm trying to not get too crazy with it. Maybe I'm not asking the right question.
I'd have to get back to you on that one. I don't want to sit here and nod my head and just say yes to you. I'm
just curious.
Yeah, I'm not, honest to God, I'm not sure. It is weird though, when you guys taste the rye. I don't know why sometimes our rye almost, well, I guess we'll tackle that when we get to the rye, but sometimes our rye to me come off sweet. And I'm like,
I asked.
oh yeah,
that's odd. Typically that's not the first word that comes out of your mouth of the rye.
yeah.
All right, guys. So what we normally do here is we'll taste. We'll go sample by sample. Scott will he'll go around the room and see what you guys are picking up.
Yep.
And we'll just start calling out. Don't be afraid to call out some notes that you're picking up here, and we'll just go down the line and we'll pick out what we think is the best one. So.
Yep.
Cheers, everybody. Let's go to the nose on starting with barrel 1205, right?
Yep, barrel 12. Yep, this is barrel number 1205, and we're on the bourbon. And so this one specifically is aged 5 years, 225 days to be specific. So
we're almost at that 6-year mark.
Yeah. So they're starting to get some really nice ages on them. So.
Wow, beautiful caramel sweetness here.
Yeah, very, very caramel. Like almost kind of you think of like kind of a caramel apple pie or something a little bit.
Yeah, definitely getting some nice apple cinnamon.
Yeah.
You get a nice richness to it.
Yeah, very rich. Nice kind of like dark fruits on that. It's like buttery. It's like it feels like it smells like it's creamy. If that makes sense.
I'm also getting like a like a pastry note.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Anybody getting like a little bit of like the nuttiness, like almost like an almond or something like that, or like a pecan note or anything like that?
Are you saying marzipan, Scotty?
Hey, don't make me mute this guy already. Yeah, I'm gonna stop short of calling this marzipan paste. Yeah, that's how you need to start. Like, this isn't just marzipan. This is specifically marzipan paste. Okay, get it right.
No peanut butter.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah, I could totally.
it might be that. It might be that, like a little bit of peanut butter, like a peanut brittle or something.
Yeah, I think as soon as you said peanut butter, definitely.
Jeepers, heck, after all of that, I just go with number one.
Yeah. I'm interested of all three of these bourbons so far. This is the lightest of the three, so I'm really interested to dive into the other two. But
yeah, number two is like freaking coffee. Holy
it's dark.
shit.
It's really dark.
All right, let's try number one, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Here we go.
Here comes the important part.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Man, that's a lot of peanut butter on that.
Yeah, that is an absolute peanut butter cup. Woo!
Yeah.
Man, I wish I had these samples in front of me. That sounds delicious.
That's like a cashew, man.
Hey, Justin, you want my address?
Yeah, here, I'll come over. I'll stay on the phone in my car.
Come on over, man.
Yeah, it's like it's total like almond cashew butter. I mean,
Yeah, I could definitely see
it
that.
definitely goes along that line.
I get a little bit of apple. I don't know if that's way off, but there's some brightness in there for me.
Yeah, there's some brightness.
Yeah, I'm still getting the apple for sure. Apple peanut butter like combination.
Matt, what about you? What are you getting?
I think it's, like I said, the cashew butter, but it's not real heavy either.
Yeah.
No.
That apple crispness kind of lightens it up a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, I was a little bit scared when I first tried it because I'm like, man, if this is all peanut butter, doesn't have a lot of layers to it, and then all of a sudden the apple kind of springs up. You get some of that cinnamon in there too.
A little more pastry in there. Too.
Yeah, a little pastry, some dough.
I think the apple's kind of in the middle, then it goes away for me at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boomer, what are you thinking about this one, bud?
Remember, I don't know if you know what an apple slice is. Apple slices, you get that pastry and you got cooked apples in there with some cinnamon, and you get an icing on top of the pastry.
Mm-hmm.
They used to sell them in like squares. That's my era. That's my generation. But that's what that reminds me of. It's like an apple slice, a baked apple slice pie, if you want to say it, with some sort of icing on it. And that peanuts coming in. You were talking about nuttiness, but there's the nuttiness. I don't know if it's peanut butter, but there is the nuttiness there.
Yeah.
And I said peanut butter, but that's close, man.
Yeah, I'm getting like that pastry, like that sugary pastry like crumb note on the actually like right towards the end of the palate.
Apple crumb cake or something like that.
Yeah. That's desserty, man.
Yeah, it's very, and it's nice. It's pretty creamy mouth coating as well, which is nice. A nice long finish on it as well.
I was going to say the finish is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving the finish on this one.
It's a little bit more as far as like where the oak starts to come through. The oak is a much more present like on the finish part of it, I would say, than like up front for me anyway.
Yeah, and it's also slightly drying too.
A little bit, yeah.
Kind of drying the palate out a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So one is nice. I like one. Nice finish.
Yeah, one's got a really nice all around palate to it.
You know, and the one thing that's interesting is that you're not getting like that heavy, like floral part of it that you would think you'd get from something that's got such a high barley content as well. It's the barley for me is not like really like standing out like you would think it would with that high content.
Yeah, I think the barley comes through a little bit with that kind of like that pastry note a little bit.
Maybe that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
Man, that like peanut buttery, man, that's nose and palate both.
Jason, are you saying marzipan?
Yeah.
I didn't say marzipan. Scott did.
You did. I don't think so. I actually literally never said marzipan except Jason said it. No, he said I said it. But
all right. So everybody, just make sure you keep it track. Write your notes down so we can.
Like Barrel 1205 could be peanut butter dreaming, baby.
Yeah, seriously.
That's good.
Gonna leave a little bit left too, just so we can go back to it.
Yeah.
But,
all right, we're gonna move on to okay. So let's see. We'll move on now to Barrel 1210 age 5 years, 225 days.
Darkness. Look at it. I'm gonna
Super
hold it up, guys. Look at the color on this thing.
Yeah, let's see if I can get this in there too.
All right.
Wow. It's like freaking coffee.
Yeah. All right. Man, that is dark. That's really dark.
Oh man, the nose on this one already.
Yeah, that's just
Right.
like that's. I mean, this is much more typical of the barrel picks I've had. The heavy like espressos and coffees and dark fruits and all that. Man,
Yeah,
chocolate.
this is like it's like black cherry infused coffee.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of that like black, like a
Good call
lot
on
of
that.
sugar.
Yeah. The dark fruit.
Wow.
Yeah. What's everyone else getting?
Well, I just came off a vacation and I was eating those cherry caramels, and that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Very
man.
rich. Yeah, I mean this
intense.
has the caramel that number 1 has, but it's just like amped up to like 10.
Oh yeah.
It has that profile of like when you smell something that's like a concentrate. You know, like you'd expect to like blend this with something else to make like more of something, you know?
Man, loving the espresso coffee note in this. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
man, it was like the first thing that hit me.
It's rich. Oh yeah, for all you Wisconsinites, you know, cheers and congrats on the Milwaukee Bucks winning the championship.
Bucks and 6, baby.
Good for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. It's only taken us 50 years.
Hey, Jason.
And Justin brings you right back down to earth.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, don't listen to Justin. He's probably been taking a lot of cough medicine. He's a little delirious right now.
Yeah.
So.
I've been popping Dayquil like they're Skittles.
Man, the more this thing opens, the more that like nice chocolatey starts to come out of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get over the chocolate covered cherry thing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like Black Forest cake, that cherry and chocolate. No,
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. You're right.
That's a great descriptor.
Yes.
Yeah, Black Forest cake.
Yeah. You know, this is where like in reviews I've done before of these like a barrel, there's something for me that's very like Stag Junior with some of these. Like when you start to get into that intense, like heavy, like fruits and chocolates and all that, there's just something about this that just, I don't know what it is. That
I was just thinking, this reminds me a lot of Stag Junior Batch 14 a little bit.
You know when you're talking about the chocolate,
Yeah.
you've had the chocolate with that 80, 75, 80, 85 cocoa rating, the dark, really dark stuff. You know, talking it's almost bittersweet chocolate that you can get Lindt chocolate and whatnot. You've never had that.
Is that like one of those old like Reggie bars? Like remember the old Reggie Jackson bars? Probably, maybe not, but
No, I'm thinking you guys know what I'm talking about, the cocoa candy bars. They're just plain chocolate, but with the 75, 80, 85 cocoa rating. Bittersweet. That's what this reminds me of.
yeah. Yeah, it's really nice and it's like it's very deep. It smells like very deep, you know.
Yeah, it's like a ice cream float, but instead of using vanilla ice cream, you're using like Cherry Garcia ice cream.
What's
Christ.
What's the proof on this one?
These are all going to be right around, I would say, from
120,
125.
Okay.
Yeah. And this one does not drink that high. This one drinks nice.
No.
I haven't. Have you guys sipped it yet?
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still getting a little bit of that like peanutty characteristic to this thing.
Oh yeah, there is still a little peanut there.
Does anybody drink scotch?
No.
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about with sherry cask scotch? This has got a little bit of that sherry note, that sweet
Yeah, there's like a dark like raisin type note to it.
Yeah.
type almost thing. Oh wow.
Jesus, that's freaking delicious. It's so like it's got such a heft to it.
Yeah.
And the finish is really nice, balanced all the way through. Got a good finish.
I like the finish even more than this one. I mean, number 1 had a great finish, but number 2 is bringing it. It lingers. It's peppery.
Definitely has some dryness to it.
A little bit dry. A little bit of the peanutty dryness comes out on the very back end.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Man, very, very intense. Like really nice layers there.
Matt and Brian, what are you guys getting on the palate like when you taste it?
When Matt said Black Forest cherry cake, I mean, that's what I get now when I taste it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Black Forest with like crushed peanuts sprinkled over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nailed it.
It's delicious.
Wow.
It's getting
you guys
as
are
it
gonna
opens.
make me blush.
The more sips I take, the more cherry it's getting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and that's the thing. That's what some of these things too. Like, you know, as these open up, even if we go back to them, they'll probably open up and change, you know, slightly on us as well. So, but yeah, that finish is very much like a coffee or some kind of espresso, something like that. Well,
It's so deep and rich. I get a little tobacco in there.
yeah, for sure.
Well, I could see that.
Kind of plays with the coffee, I guess. That espresso note.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the Scotty? What's that brand of cigar that they kind of flavor the wrapper a little bit, and a little cherry wrapper?
I don't. Oh, like maybe acids or something, or
Yeah, there's a cigar I've had that's a little bit like a cherry infusion in the wrapper. It's a nice little dessert. It's a little dessert cigar.
you're not talking about like a switcher or something, are you?
No. They make oh man, who makes that one? Damn it. They make a Java and they also make a cherry.
Oh,
I'll look it up, but it's reminding me of that like profile a little bit.
man. Boy, when you
Are they short little cigars, Jason?
Yeah.
Are they nub cafes?
Yeah, I think they are actually.
Yeah, they make a couple different flavors. They're a good
Yeah.
little dessert. Yep.
Yep, little dessert cigars. Yep. I think that's what you're talking. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, much more of the like a vanilla custard start to come out in this thing a little bit too.
I agree. It is getting a little bit more vanilla as it opens up. This is like poor man's stag, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, it just there's something about it, like with a couple others I've had before that just remind me a little bit of that profile for whatever reason. All right, so two is great.
Yeah, two. Yeah, so two's great.
Yeah. Can we just put that like on a sticker? It's great.
Yeah, I think the best descriptor was Matt with the Black Forest cake. That's spot on.
That's the first thing I wrote down there. I've got my first thing, Black Forest cake, peanuts.
Yeah,
Nice
slight peanut. It's getting a little bit more vanilla and dessert cigar.
You know, the thing is, and don't let that analogy like lean you towards thinking that, like, for everyone watching now, that this is like straight up sweetness. It's got a lot. It's got all of that, but there's the nice oak and some little bit of dryness to it. But it's got a lot going on in this.
Yeah, there's a good amount of oak in this, but man, the color on this thing is beautiful.
It is. It really is.
It's not sickeningly sweet at all.
No. I actually like this a little bit. I mean, to kind of sound crazy, I actually like the profile of this over some more of the stags that I've had.
Yeah.
Stags tend to be extremely oversweet, which is it's a very typical Buffalo Trace thing, and that's why people love it. Right. And I could totally see why. You get all that powdered sugar with the cherry.
Yeah.
This brings that with some darker notes to it, which is really nice.
I literally cannot get off of like what Matt said. Like, I mean, it's total Black Forest cake.
It is. I mean, nailed it.
Yeah, it's all Black Forest, chocolate cherry goodness, and a little. I'm getting more of the tobacco and vanilla too on the back end, like Ryan called out too. Yep. Yeah,
and the tobacco part of it is definitely, like you guys have been talking about. It's much more on the sweeter, like a pipe tobacco, like what you would smell or something.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. Well, I think it's safe to say 2 right now is in the lead. Shit, that's good.
Well,
Yeah.
and one thing quick too, guys, for anybody out there watching and thinking to themselves, man, these guys seem to enjoy this stuff. It's got to be sourced. None of this is sourced, for anybody at home wondering. This is all made grain to glass right at our facility in Baraboo, Wisconsin. So we have never sourced any of our whiskey. So.
You know, I think after we taste tonight that, Matt and Brian and myself are going to need to make a road trip up there and just get a refresher on this.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. Sure. I think it's perfect that Justin said we're in Baraboo, Wisconsin, and he's wearing a red flannel.
Well,
It is.
but after this, he's got to go out and tap the maple trees, cut a couple.
It's just like it's like if Brawny had a whiskey, this is it.
Yeah, and you like my wood paneling in the basement too.
Yeah, the wood it all comes together, eh?
It's,
all right, Justin. We'll bring Mr. in a couple weeks or so, a week and a half or so. We'll bring Mr. Funny Man up there, and we'll let him take a tour of the.
There you go.
You got my number, so you know the drill.
Yeah.
So anytime you guys want to come up, you let me know, and I'll come show you around.
All right.
Yeah, and me and my lady, we're going to be up there in about little over a week. So
Yeah.
All right, let's go to. So we're moving on to barrel 2210 now.
Yep, barrel 2210 is aged 5 years, 225 days. And Justin, can you tell us, like, as far as like the barrel numbers, is there any correlation to like the ones that start out with 1 or 2? Is that have any correlation to like where they're racked at all?
Not really. Mainly just because talking to Max and Nathan, and you've met Max and Nathan before, I'm pretty darn sure. Our rick house, I don't believe is really large enough to severely affect how these turn out. They're not rotating these things around. So I've never really ran into that situation. And our rye, when we get onto that, our rye is actually, because we ran out of room in our current rick house, we had to move all of our smaller barrels into our auxiliary warehouse. Which stays at a constant temperature all year round. So no, there really shouldn't be too crazy of a sway, if you will. It's not like when you go down to Kentucky and they've got 4 stories or 5 stories, and they're like, "Well, we took it from story number 8 down to 1 just to cool her off a little bit."
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, for anybody who's watching who's not part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, you can get in my Patreon, Jason's, either one of us. It'll get you in and get you in on some of the good picks, including the Driftless stuff that we've got going on. So get on board. We got some good stuff coming. So.
And then for anybody out there wondering, okay, so they don't source this stuff. Well, who's making this stuff? So believe it or not, it's 2 28-year-old guys, Max and Nathan, both self-taught distillers. Neither one wants to take credit for being the head distiller, so I'd say we have kind of 2 co-head distillers, and they've done a phenomenal job. I try to make a point, to let everybody know, without them making some great juice, my job would be a lot harder. So believe it or not, it's 2 28-year-old self-taught dudes making this stuff. So
that's a great question, Chef. How does it pair with cheese curds?
Very, very, very well. Anything pairs with cheese curds.
That's true.
I'm getting some fruit, some citrusy notes in here.
Yeah, it's almost unfair. As good as this may be, it's unfair for this bourbon coming off of 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This one's coming off more citrusy and a little bit. It kind of has like a little bit of a toasty, marshmallow thing going on a little bit.
I would agree.
Like sweet, like creamsicle a little bit.
Yeah, a little lighter, a little more butterscotchy.
Yeah, I'm digging the butterscotchy.
Yeah, it's definitely not as intense as whole completely different profile on this one. Not nearly the nuttiness as there were on the others.
Yeah, this one is a little bit more on the, like you said, the butterscotch side of things, which I'm digging. At least on the nose.
Yeah, there's definitely that toasted marshmallow aspect.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of the barrel char we're getting in here. Justin, what char level are we looking at here for these barrels? We're looking at number 3 to 4 char?
Yep.
4 char? Yeah, I feel like I could smell the char in here more than any of the other 3, which is nice. All right, I'm going for a sip.
All right, cheers.
Wow.
Oh, that is completely different than the other two. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's much softer.
It's a little bit more nuanced, a little softer.
Honey.
A lot more honey on this one, which is it's crazy coming off the other two. We got a lot more. I was like expecting a little bit more peanut on this one. This one's more smoked butterscotch and honey.
Right. Wow. It's pretty good.
And out of all the three, this one drinks like a 100 proofer.
Yeah, it's much more like you'd almost like want to call this like much more of like a traditional kind of bourbon profile.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a little more mellow.
Yeah, much more mellow, very easy to drink. And again, if this is at or around 125 proof, man,
It doesn't drink at that proof.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's got a lingering like burnt brown sugar thing going on in the back end.
Wow.
For me, on number one, when I got the apples in the mid palate, I get a lot of pepper and spice on this one.
Yeah.
Not on the end, but in the middle.
Anyone getting some like savory notes in here, like a little bit of like
Marzipan?
definitely not marzipan.
All right, sorry.
Like more like herbaceous, like talking like herbal qualities to it.
I was gonna,
like a black tea type thing.
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like tea and honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, this is like it's crazy like how different all of these are. Like there's not even like a really like a standard. They're all so different, but it's really good.
Yeah, I did a distillery tour about a month ago, and I picked up a bottle of the cask strength bourbon, and it's a total tobacco bomb.
Yeah.
Which is something really unique. You don't find a lot in bourbon, and all three of these are different too.
Yeah. I think there's even a little bit of like, I don't know if it's that you said it, but there's a little bit of a sweet tobacco, sweet oak or something in this too.
This is nice. Haven't had a bad one yet.
No.
Yeah, all three of these are hitters.
Hmm.
This is going to be a tough choice.
Yeah, much more butterscotch in that one.
This is probably out of the three of them. This number three to me is the most malt forward. I'm definitely getting
the same thing because for me that translates to like a floral, like a softness. I always pick up this just like buttery aspect on barley.
Yeah, it's softer. It's a little bit more floral. You get a lot of honey, but also when we did the Old Elk pick, we learned that the malted, barley brings a softness to a whiskey.
Yeah.
And that's what what Greg Metz was talking about. Like you use a higher barley content, get a little bit of a softer profile or easy sipping whiskey. And I think that's what we're getting here. We're getting a little bit more of the barley influence with the black tea, the honey, but we're also getting some nice spice to go along with it. So
is it me or is the finish on this one shorter than the other two?
For sure. Yeah.
It's definitely shorter. Yeah.
Definitely shorter. That's probably where 3 for me, like Matt, I think this kind of falls a little bit short for me on that. Like you want a little bit more of this.
Yeah.
But Steve, going back to what we were saying, this doesn't drink like 120 proof bourbon.
No.
And that's where the finish might be short.
I think the barley influence is really strong because I'm actually on the finish. I'm getting a much softer and more like cereal type of barley influence on the back end.
Right.
Yeah. It's almost like a little bit of like a lemon cake. There's like a citrusy sweetness that's there on this thing too.
Abby who inks wants us to get all three.
Yeah.
That works for me. That works for me. I need a new boat.
Yeah. We'd probably have to run that by Shem. He's like, which barrels did you choose? We chose all of them.
Justin, what's the price point on these?
That's tricky. The best thing I can tell you is I don't like because again, you need to remember I'm merely the guy that ships it out to the distributor. The distributor ships it out to say.
And I'm not trying to pin it down. What I'm trying to do is like make an analogy, like Jason did regarding the Stag Junior. Just for easy conversation that won't get me in any trouble, I'll just tell you that most places who purchase my cask strength bourbon
hang out in that 53, 56.99. Some go 49.99, but
in my opinion, you got bourbon here that's probably maybe half the price of other bourbons that are well known. It tastes the same. Why spend the money? That's where I was going with this.
Well, that's because he's in Bugaboo, Wisconsin. So.
I would completely disagree with that statement. I would like to say that we're a craft distillery that's a little more realistic than others when it comes to price point. We feel that we recognize the market a little better than some others as well. You are right though, being that we are located in Wisconsin. Typically, let's just say with our normal small batch bourbon, you start jumping over that $39.99 mark in Wisconsin, and you're really just not going to see the volume play. And with as much whiskey as we have laying down, we don't have the luxury of charging $69.99. It just would, well, one, it wouldn't make any sense, and I think a lot of distilleries have realized that. If you look at the last few years in the market, wow, it's amazing how some of our competition has kind of mirrored our pricing on some of their SKUs, whether it's the vodka, whether it's the bourbon, whether it's the rye, right? And with me working the market. When I pitch this stuff to liquor store owners and they ask the price, right? And I'm like, listen, you're probably going to hang out at a $39.99 to $49.99, depending on what SKU you're talking about. They're like, that's spot on, right? And that gives me a lot of street cred as well. And it shows that, we at Driftless Glen, understand the market and understand what's going on right now. Exactly. But we are in Podunk, Wisconsin. So,
I mean, honestly, just, in all seriousness, I think this price point that you guys are at with the quality of whiskey that we're seeing here, just in these 3 samples, I actually think it's a bargain, because I've seen whiskeys priced higher than this that are younger and not nearly as good. So I think for your price point, your strategy is spot on, honestly.
Yeah, and I've been really fortunate. So Brian and Renee are they're nice enough if I do have any suggestions or we're putting our minds together. When I first came on board, and I was like, so what are you guys thinking for the price of the Bourbon and Rye when we launch? And we were a little off base. Because the drill, right? When it's your baby and you've got millions invested into this and everything's great, right? It's the best whiskey ever. Well, that may be true, but not everybody may feel that way. And so I was very fortunate that they are open to suggestions, and that's one of the reasons they're a pleasure to work for, to be honest with you. So.
Hey Justin, when we're up there in like a week and a half, we'll show Jason what the river looks like close up. What do you think? Yeah.
You want me to just toss him in?
Yeah, don't forget he called it Bugaboo, Wisconsin. Remember?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
All right. I'm gonna look at it from afar, get a nice panoramic view. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. I'm gonna get him a shirt that says "Welcome to Bugaboo, Wisconsin." All right, so let's not pick. Should we skip over to the ryes and then maybe kind of finish up? We'll go back to them a little bit and see what we think.
No, I think we should go through these, man. Let's get our bourbon here.
Okay, all right, we can do
that. I think for what we have here, I mean, for me, from A, B, and C, I would cut out C already, just because it's not nearly as flavorful than A or B. So for me, I think it's between A and B. If we want to go with like a peanut butter apple slice flavor or the cherry black forest cake.
Man, I mean, here, I guess I'll give you my personal opinion is that with what it is that they've got going on and like the representation to have something that I think could compete with like some of the big boys that people go crazy about. I think it would be like a little unjust to not want to go with something that's like, big and bold and like we've kind of been talking about with the others. So, I don't know. I guess why don't we go down the row or whatever and ask everybody as far as your choice. Which one would you choose?
Yeah. Boomer, what are you thinking from the 3? What are you leaning towards?
The second one, number 2.
Okay.
Number 1210. 1210 without a doubt.
Brian?
Definitely number 2.
Matt D?
I didn't cheat and taste them ahead of time, but I did smell them all, and this is the one I love just off the smell.
Yeah, Matt, you're thinking 2 as well.
2.
Scotty.
Yeah, two for sure, hands down.
Two is like it's like Stag Light. It's ridiculous. It actually might even be a little bit more flavorful than some of the Stag. So
yeah, I think this could be a nice sticker. Would be this like the Driftless Glen bottle, like stepping on Stag Junior bottle.
Just all right, guys. So here's our selection. Barrel 1210. Driftless Glen is going to be our bourbon. Absolutely. Whoever tastes this thing is going to be blown away.
The sticker should read, though, just Jason in Bugaboo, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
No, you gotta call it Black Forest Bugaboo.
Black Forest Bugaboo. That could be too.
That's right, because you taste this, you think it's Stag Junior, and then you just got bugabooed.
Jesus. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of suggestions for the sticker.
Wow.
So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean, honestly, Justin, I don't know. I wish, Justin, you don't have these samples in front of you?
Unfortunately, I do not. I do not.
Well, if you're anywhere near Barrel 1210 somewhere soon, you have to try this shit. It's ridiculous.
Justin,
I will. I'll be up there all weekend, so I'll have Max.
Justin, give me your address. I'll drop them off tomorrow. Give me your address. I'll drop them off tomorrow.
Works for me. You have a pen by you?
Go ahead, man.
You might not.
11.
You might not want to give. You might not want to give.
You know what? I'll give you my email when we're done. Then you can give me your address.
I don't care if anybody has my address. Here, better yet, let me just give you guys here. When we get done, I'll give you my phone number.
Yeah, there we go. We'll do the addresses and phone numbers and social security numbers offline. What do you think?
You wouldn't get very far with mine.
That's how much I got left at 1210, Justin.
Nice.
Yeah, very good. I think everybody who ends up with this and or the rye, I mean, you guys are going to be. It's just one of those bourbons that I've been the last year and a half. I've just been. A lot of us here, a lot of the guys here in Wisconsin. I mean, it's what they're doing is absolutely amazing. I'm glad that they're finally starting to get to this point. So,
yeah, I mean, B has this barrel 1210. I think has everything that me and Scott looking for. It's got depth, it's got flavor, it's got a long finish. It's unique. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm really excited about right now, boys, is if you like that bourbon, and if any of you on this video chat like rye, you're gonna crap yourself when we dive into these ryes.
Yeah. Well, we were talking a little bit like offline first about like how you guys are like killing the rye part of it. I mean, your rye it's an awesome rye.
So I personally, and I told Scott this. Scott sent me a rye like a while back, and I don't even remember tasting it. Scott and I, we get so many samples, it's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
So I haven't experienced some of these newer ryes, especially looking at a little bit over 5 years old. So I don't really know what to expect here. So I'm really excited to dig into these.
Yeah.
I've done 3 different rye store picks, either through bourbon groups or through liquor stores, and every one has been spectacular.
Yeah, they're just so easy to sip on. They almost never drink like that high proof that they are. It's just a fantastic rye.
Now these have crazy color too. Holy crap!
Yeah, they're dark.
And again, like Justin said, these are all being aged in 30-gallon barrels, right?
Yeah, these are all going to be 30. So as you guys know, right, we're kind of getting close to where we've got to get our rye dumped. You can't keep them in those 30-gallon barrels, honestly, for much more than you really don't want to keep in a barrel for much more than 6 years at 30 gallons. So, but yeah.
So here's the update from Shem. He said no pressure on the rye. I know Justin was looking for our feedback, but if you love one, we could have one. So
wow, awesome.
Thanks,
all right, And it seems like Justin is like, yeah, just take my rise, please.
Yeah, I think we'll be.
So admittingly, the reason we're talking about rye right now is when I talked to Shem initially on the phone, I'm like, dude, here's the deal. I know you're looking for bourbon. I'm like, that's cool. I get it. You know? And I said, dude, I'm shipping you 3 rye anyway. Because typically once you get one of these in your mouth, you're normally going home with one.
That's what she said.
That is what she said. That's the pickup line I used on my girlfriend the first night.
Yeah. Justin's like the bowling pins. He sets them up, and Corey comes in and knocks them down.
Oh my God, that's the sticker right there.
I was like, this is. I can see where this is going already.
Once you get it in your mouth, you're taking it home.
Already there.
Yeah. We apologize as the Mash Journey. We apologize if we offend anybody by any of this. So.
No, don't get canceled. Don't get canceled.
Yeah, don't get canceled. Don't get canceled.
Justin, what are we looking at on the mash bill for these ryes?
75 rye, 25 malt.
Wow.
Justin, about how many bottles are you getting out of a 30-gallon then?
Great question. You guys are probably only going to be looking at 13 to 15 six-packs.
Oh, so really a short amount. Okay.
Hey,
all
So
right.
we should just buy them all.
This will be. Oh yeah. I guess Jason. I guess that's something to consider with Shem. With these being 30 gallons, and if it ends up being something really fantastic, maybe we consider. Two if there's something that we really like and feel like we can do it. That'll be something we can talk about.
You mean 2 ryes?
Yeah, possibly. Just knowing that we're going to get a small amount of bottles from the barrels.
All right, so let's taste through them and see what we get. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
So we're starting with barrel 1599, correct?
Yep. Aged 5 years, 170 days. So in the rye world, we're getting a great year for the rye. So, man, just that one thing. It's just like it's always like this mint chocolate chip ice cream. I don't know what it is about these things, but
I get juicy fruit gum on this one too.
yeah, for sure.
Good call, Brian. Totally juicy fruit.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of leather.
Definitely get the mint, Scotty.
Yeah, mint. Yep.
Hock and roll, baby. Hock and roll.
Rock and roll.
So you guys, is Shem watching right now?
Yeah, he's watching.
Okay, he asked about the yield on the bourbon. The bourbon on a 53 right now at cast strength, you're probably, if I had to ballpark it for you guys to be on the safe side, probably 25 to 30 6-packs.
All right, so we're in that 180-ish bottle range, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've been seeing this year. You guys know the drill. Heck, I did a barrel earlier in the year, cast strength bourbon. It yielded 9 6-packs. The guy wasn't too happy. He's like, I need more samples.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoops, we had a leaker.
We'll leave
Yeah,
that.
I get mint chocolate chip and also
Yeah.
a little I get a little bit of like a lemon bar note in here, which is nice.
Yeah, and there's a little bit again of that that herbalness. Like I know that with the rye, but there's still a bit of that like kind of black tea, something like that there as well.
The gum flavor.
Man, I really get the juicy fruit on the palate too. A lot of juicy fruit gum.
Don't hear that every day with rye.
No, not at all.
That brings me back to the shelf rye that I bought. That's why I asked you about rye, if it's a sweet rye or not.
Man, that is good.
It's really good.
That's insanely good.
I love.
There have been times where I've been doing barrel picks before, and we tasted the ryes, and we're like, "Are you sure these aren't bourbons?"
Wow.
Yeah, it is. There's that mint chocolate, like a lemon bar aspect to it. Nice oak, nice spice to it. It's dangerously easy to drink. Very easy to drink.
And I like to think that our ryes too are a good kind of gateway for people that usually say, I don't drink rye. I hate rye. I feel like if you put one of our ryes in front of those people, they're like, wow, okay. I've never really had a rye that goes off like this. So that's nice too, especially when you're dealing with, guys like yourselves in whiskey groups, and maybe not everybody's a huge rye guy. I think it's a good stepping stone.
Hey, Justin, any idea what the turnaround time is on these as far as bottling and all that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I normally can have these things bottled and ready to rock within a couple weeks.
Gee.
The hardest part, obviously, is setting up transport from Baraboo, Wisconsin to San Diego, California. If these were getting shipped to McFarland Liquor in Wisconsin, if I already had your logo for the top right corner of the bottle, or whatever you guys want to say, right? It'll say hand selected by whatever you guys want, your logo or anything. It normally takes me longer to get those made and shipped to the distillery than it does to get it bottled. If we were in Wisconsin, I could turn barrels around in less than a month. To be safe going out to San Diego, I'd probably say a couple months.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
That's a nice turnaround time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it was my record. My record was last winter. I was able to turn a barrel around for Total Wine in less than a week.
That's quick.
Yeah, I mean this one isn't changing. The more I sip it, it's mint, chocolate, and lemon bar like all day long.
Yep.
I'm surprised. So, I mean, if you guys have had the Old Forester rye, you get a lot of that lemony quality to it with that higher barley content. I think that's what we're seeing here a little bit too.
Whew. But it's got that sweetness.
It is. It's a sweeter rye. This is a bourbon drinker's rye, I would think.
Good entry point for a rye drinker if you never had rye before.
Yeah.
And Justin, roughly, what are the proofs on these? Similar to the bourbons? Are they that high?
Yeah, same thing.
Wow.
Man, if that's around 125 proof, man, you could get yourself in a lot of trouble with that.
Easy drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sips easy, man.
You're definitely going home with something if you drink a bottle of that, right?
Yeah, you're going. Yeah. Something is the key word. Something is the key word.
Probably divorce papers.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good.
Yeah, it's very good. It's so easy to drink.
Yeah, that's nice. I feel like that's a good starter because now I can't wait to see what these other two are going to bring here in contrast, if at all.
And again, similar to the bourbons, look at the color on 2 and 3. Yeah. Holy moly!
What the hell?
All right, are we moving on to the second?
Yeah, I'm going into 2 here on the nose.
All right, so the second one we're on to right now is barrel 1612, aged 5 years, 169 days.
Codexa.
Oof.
This is even richer.
You know what, Jace? What is this? Does this kind of like the first smell? Does it remind you a little bit about when we were in the wilderness?
It reminds me of the wilderness. Totally.
You're smelling something that's not necessarily a rye, but like a great whiskey, like right away.
Yep. This is rich. This doesn't come off like a rye at all.
No, man, this is a great nose right away.
Matt and Brian, what are you thinking about this one on the nose?
I can't wait to taste it, man.
Yeah, I think Matt was basically saying "F your nose."
F your nose.
Man, that is nice.
This is very, very caramel heavy.
It's almost like a caramel chocolate cake or something. There's something very desserty about this.
It does still have that little slight overlay of mint, though. I'll give it that.
Man. Holy cow! Yeah, that's it's very fudgy. There's something fudgy about this.
So we have chocolate forest cake and then and Fudgy the whale.
Yeah. Oh, we sound like a bunch of fat kids.
You might get canceled for saying that, man.
Oh yeah, sorry, but I take that back. How do I delete this stream?
Too late, man. Too late.
Husky kids.
Yeah, husky. Yeah. That wouldn't be the first time I said something I pissed somebody off. I can tell you that. Yeah, there's definitely that nice. Yeah, it's a lot of caramel on this for a rye.
I'm still getting that little bit of underlying mint and lemon though, still. But I feel like where on number one, that was more at the forefront. With number two, it's still there, but the caramel is kind of really overtaking it.
The finish on this one's a lot longer too, a little more spicy.
Oh, you're already.
Boomer already dove in. Okay,
He's already in the finish. I haven't even tasted it yet. Shit.
You guys talk too much.
Yeah. Yeah. We should just do it. We should just do a live stream where nobody says anything and just write
Hey, I got to give these samples up to Justin tomorrow.
Man, it's anybody getting a little bit of pastry and stuff on this too?
I'm getting a little citrus still on the nose.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
Yeah, I get the dough. I get the pastry.
Man, that is delicious.
Oh man. That is.
I love the finish on that.
The finish is awesome on that one.
Oh, Boomer's not lit, Nick.
Boomer did. Nick did.
Boomer's
Nick.
not lit. Boomer's a veteran.
Boomer is a professional.
Thank you. By the way,
Uncle Buck's with us.
Jason,
Back in time.
Oh, that's a beautiful shirt, Boom.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, bro. Now I'm getting lit.
How do I delete that guy?
Get some shirts.
I do have shirts.
Send them to me.
All right, Matt, what are you thinking of this one on the palate? He's like, I'm going to sip it again because I keep drinking it.
Yeah. Man, it's rich. I get like the pastry, the kind of a donutty, rich caramel. It doesn't, to me, if this was purely a blind, I wouldn't think it was a rye.
Yeah.
No.
It's got that caramel to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I could totally see that, though. It's like a caramel frosted donut. Sprinkle some mint on it, and I think that's what you got in this glass.
It gets me the sweetness on this, though.
Yeah, Brian, what are you thinking on this one?
No, I agree with all that. You got the mint, no dill. On the first one, I know I didn't say it, but on the first one, there was a little hint of dill in there.
Really?
Not off-putting, but I got some dill in there, but not on this one at all.
I could see that on number one. Uncle Buck donut. Done. No. So something about Uncle Buck saying it.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. That's awesome.
What a great movie.
Yeah,
Very good.
amazing movie.
Very good.
All right, so number two, as great as it is it too close to the bourbon in the sweetness?
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be one of those things where when we get on to three, maybe that'll give us a better idea of what two and one are like. I mean, one is fantastic.
Yeah.
They're all fantastic so far in their own way.
So far the first two are very different, but both fantastic and equal in different ways. It's like caramel donut, Timbits.
Man, it's good. It is really
Anybody have Tim Hortons by them?
No, but I've been to several Tim Hortons before.
So growing up in New York, we had Dunkin' Donuts, and all we had there was you had your donuts, and then if you want, you get Munchkins, which are the little donut holes.
Oh yeah.
I moved out to Ohio, and somebody at work brought in Tim Hortons little donut holes, and they were called Timbits. And I'm like, what the fuck is a Timbit? I'm like, that is the most terriblest name. I know terriblest is not a word. I'm just saying that's the most terriblest name I've ever heard for donut. Who the hell wants Tim's Bits? That's gross.
I still love that they were the terriblest though.
Yeah.
They were the most terriblest.
The most terriblest.
It's that public schooling education in New York.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here with your Timbits. Give me the Munchkins.
What are you talking
It's like a mouthful of Timbits.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down for a sticker.
Wouldn't be his first time, Justin.
Mouth full of Timbits.
You can see it just like stuffing your pie hole full of friggin' little Timbits.
That's right. See, Nick Foles knows. He knows OGs know munchkins of the bee's knees. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to number. So now we're moving on to barrel 1679. Happy Who Inks. I call Timbits Tim Balls. You know you want to do.
There's the puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that little guy.
Oh, look at that guy.
Yeah, it is. My mom's got a little corgi. Man, that's a cool little dog, I'll tell you.
He's freaking adorable. Look at him. Oh, is it a girl or a guy?
Yeah, that's Butternut.
Butternut.
That's what I smell in it. That's what I smell in a rye. No, hey Nick, no. Boomer's not lit.
That's awesome.
Oh. Yeah.
This one is floral to me.
Are we on to 3?
Yeah.
I am.
Oh, yeah, Brian's keeping this freaking train on the tracks is what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
This is a more balanced rye note to me. I'm getting sweet. I'm getting savory. I'm getting the mint. This is nice.
This is classic rye.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice little floral note on it too.
Damn.
I get like a fresh bread dough.
Yeah, little lemon zest on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lemon loaf, like pound cake almost.
A lemon loaf.
Get off my lemon loaf.
I was ready. I knew there had to be something there.
Hey, Julie, bring me a lemon loaf.
Definitely getting some like vanilla icing on here too a little bit, which is nice. Definitely getting a little bit of the mint still. I mean, mint seems to be kind of the overlying theme of all these Driftless Glen picks. There's a really nice mintiness to it.
Yeah. And it's so nice to have this and not get like that major like dill note that you get from some ryes.
Yes, the hawk does not like his dill.
No, not a dill guy.
Tim Cornet said there's a butternut in the Baraboo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took her to work with me the first day I had her, and I realized I gotta wait till she's a little older.
She looks young. Is she a pup?
Yeah, she's only 10 weeks old.
Oh, she's adorable. Yeah,
And she likes to eat frickin' carpet.
Oh, jeez.
That's too easy.
Leave it alone.
You could tell I couldn't afford the smart corgi.
Yeah. They were
I'm like, do you have a special needs corgi that's half price? I'll take the special needs corgi.
Yeah. Yeah. Here you go. This would just eat all our carpet. We'll take that one. Jesus.
Oh,
yeah.
Holy crap.
Give me the carpet eater. Give me the carpet eater.
Not only do you get barrel pick time, but you get comedy hour at the same time. So, just what we bring. Professionalism is what we call this.
Yes, I mean, number 3 is like drinking pure like lemon cake. Oh my god.
Man, there's still that nice pastry note that's been kind of very like common in all of these.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's good. That has really beautiful balance to it.
Yeah, that's very good. You almost need to go back to 1 because two is so different. Like 1 and 3 are a little bit more alike than 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to 1 real quick.
Yeah.
1's more rich on the nose now.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. 1 has a much richer nose than 3.
Buttery, yeah.
pulling a lot more rye out of 1.
But yeah, much spicier one is. A lot more mint on that too. The more you go back to it.
One on the palate has so much more mint.
Yeah.
Now it does. Yeah, since it's opened up more.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It's almost like a freaking mojito.
Oh, is that good?
Mojito, that's good.
How do you figure out? Okay, so now you've sipped down. The beginning of the sipping, you're tasting one thing. Now it's opened up more. Now you got something a little more strong, a little different. Wow. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, going back to one. I mean, I really like 3, just tasting it now, but now 1 going back to it has kind of impressed me more than 3.
Now you go back to 3. I'm getting a heck of a lot of dough on the nose.
Yeah, 3 is just getting more and more doughy, more rye bready.
Yeah, definitely, Tim. 1 and 3 are much more alike than 2. Two is the outlier for sure.
Yeah, 2 is definitely the outlier.
You know, this is where it comes down to, you know, if you do go with 2 of these, you know, like 2 almost becomes like the divider. Like 2 is different from a standpoint of it's a bourbon-y drinker's rye, and then it would come down to 1 and 3 being much more of a rye profile.
See, but two still has the mint on the back end, though.
It does.
It's just a lot sweeter up front.
Yeah, it's very good though. It's delicious, is what it is.
Yeah, I had a group of guys we were doing the same thing, and they love our rye, and they did a Hansel and Gretel theme with one barrel of rye was different than the other barrel of rye, which is pretty neat.
Nick Foles says, "You got any rye that tastes like Stag Junior? I'll buy it all." No, the bourbon definitely does, but these ryes are, I mean, overall, for someone that hasn't really tried some of the newer ryes from Driftless Glen, absolutely delicious, stellar stuff.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Very good.
Man, you almost have to go back to number 2 to like reset your palate away from 1 and 3. It's interesting.
Number 2 smells like it's finished, but it's not. Matt is eating pizza. He's ready. He's already made his decision.
Just digging a crack or just trying to clean the palate off a little bit.
Man, 2 is so goddamn good though.
It's definitely sweeter, a little bit sour. It's kind of like a sweet tart when I smell it now.
Number 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I'm still getting the glazed donut thing on 2.
Yeah, 3 for me is like a savory lemon pepper.
Yeah.
You drink through it. You know, the finish seems a little bit longer on 3.
Man, that's good.
Man. I wasn't real excited about number 1, but now that I've gone back to it, man, it's really good too.
Yeah, I thought I would like number 3 over number 1, but I'm going back to number 1. For me, it's between 1 and 2 at this point. Number three is good, but it doesn't have the lingering like sweetness and flavor that I'm getting on 1 or 2. 3 gets to a little bit more of a drying, more the dough note in 3 kind of lingers on. Hawk and roll. What are you thinking, man?
I'm just like trying to debate. Like, I mean, it's you have to look at 2 as like its own. It's so different than 1 and 3. You know.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I love it. I see different. I love all 3 of them for a different reason. I mean, 2 is like Matt said before. You wouldn't necessarily, I think, drink it and think rye right away, but there's almost like this. Like, it's a little bit decadent, you know, to be honest, like 2.
Yeah. Man.
The proof comes out more in number 2.
Man, this is tough. One, there's a lot of mint on one. I get a lot of mint on one. Ryan, are you getting any more dill on one at all? Like I don't get it. I don't get it on the palate at all. But
I do get a little bit still,
you do.
but I enjoy dill, so I think I single it out, or I can.
Okay.
I got mine picked though. I think we should take them all and sell them as a set.
Yeah. The trifecta.
Let's do it.
Honestly, I think 2 is so different and delicious. I'm leaning towards 2.
Yeah, I mean, two is definitely. I mean, 2 would be like just from a if you look at it from a standpoint of the 3, which would you prefer to sip on? I mean, two is like really delicious. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Jim Muller's saying I want honey. There's none of these 3 are really honey bombs at all.
Yeah.
I think when we picked the Peerless, we got a lot more honey on those.
Man.
I like one. I still get juicy fruit there. I like that one.
Look at Tim's comments.
Maybe 375s. That's a good idea.
That's interesting.
I wish, boys. It's not an option on my end. I'm sorry.
Justin's like, now I got to get new glass made. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It sounds like we're gonna have to mute Justin here pretty soon. Man, I don't know. I would agree. Like, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Like, what are you guys thinking in terms of like a rye whiskey? If you could choose one of the 3 for whatever reasons, where would you lean and why?
Yeah, Boomer, what are you thinking right now?
All right, let me ask you. What do you guys think a regular type of rye would be? Whether it's
is this a question to a question?
Yeah, it's a question to a question because I'm trying to figure out myself. I love all 3, but what's a consummate rye? Does it have a lot of spice to it? Is it balanced more across the board? You know, Jason hits on some key points. Brian hits on key points. Matt does. I mean, I don't have an answer because I'm trying to figure out myself which one of the 3 I like better than the others.
I mean, for me, like, yes, you got your quintessential rye flavors, but I mean, when it comes to what we're picking, we want something unique and delicious, and for me, that's what 2 is.
It is different than the other 2. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely the outlier. There's no doubt about that.
There's no question. And it's got a nice spicy finish, in my opinion.
All right, so here would be the deal, I guess, and this would be a question to probably ask Shem if they would agree to this. But you know, if we all think we like 2 as something that's different and unique and delicious, like why don't we just keep 2, in, and then maybe if we want, Jason, we can decide on 1 or 2 amongst all of us as to what we think would be to bring us up to like what a 53 would be. But that's kind of Shem's call. So,
Brian, what are you thinking out of the 3? You're leaning on 1.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, they're all great. You can't go wrong.
No.
Whichever ones we don't pick, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the samples I've left this year. But yeah, I enjoy 1.
Yeah, I agree with them.
Matt, where are you leaning, bud?
I think you got to go back to, these barrel picks. I think we also want to, I'm always looking for something unique. If I want a rye, I can go buy a Pikesville and get a rye. Yeah. So I'm always looking for something unique that's got a different angle or different kind of flavor to it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say 2. I think that it's really different. It's really flavorful. And it's just a different, kind of take on a rye.
Yep. Well, 2 and 1 sound great, although I like any barrel picks that are unique. Yeah. Hawk and roll. Where are you leaning, man?
I think my default is 2, and then like for me, like I guess I would start out with 2 as my favorite overall.
Yeah.
And then it's trying to figure out like if we did a second one, like what those would be. But I would say if we got one of them, 2 kind of similar to like what Matt said, I like that it's a little bit different, a little bit more unique as a rye whiskey. So yeah, my default I think would be 2 because it's a delicious whiskey. Period.
Yeah, chef's right too. Pick the most unique, delicious. He's right about that.
Yeah, I think 2. I mean, 1 and 3 are similar,
Right.
and they each have their attributes. But I think when you think about it, 2 is the one that's really standing out among the 3. So I think we should pick the standout rather than one of them that's, maybe more along the lines of a rye, because 2 is the standout to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it still has the mintiness, it still has the rye flavor. I love the finish on 2.
Yeah.
But up front, it's up front. It's just a little bit sweeter. So I think for me, it's bourbon 2 and rye 2.
Yeah, I think that's. Man, we've gone back to back equal. 33 on the Peerless, 22 on the Driftless.
Say, Scott, what's the number on 2?
1612. 1612. Jason? Are we gonna entertain a second rye, or should we have one first?
I think we should just do 1 for now. We'll have a lot of the bourbon. It's always hard to tell with the newer distilleries how they'll move.
Yeah.
So I just want to be cognizant of that as well.
Yeah.
Nothing against Driftless Glen, but Driftless Glen is a newer kind of player in the market, and we want to make sure that either way, people are going to trust hopefully what we're picking here.
Yeah.
How many bottles did you say, Justin, with this one, with the ryes about?
With the ryes, you're probably looking somewhere in 13 to 15 6-packs. So I went to public school. My math is not what it used to be. So
is that like 75-ish?
Yeah. And then just for fun, Scott, what's the number on number 1?
1599.
Okay, well, one thing I can do for you guys too, since you really seem to like number 1, and no pressure to buy or anything like that, but what I'll do for you is I'm going to hold that. So I'll just put that in a holding pattern, and like you said, let's see where number 2 goes. If you guys crush it and you guys want to rip number 1 at some point in the next 6 months or something, just let me know.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, one is fantastic.
All right, so let's go with that plan. Let's go with that plan then. We'll definitely. So for the bourbon, we got 1210. The rye, which is an absolute just monster and very, very unique.
Yeah,
we're gonna take 1612. We'll see how those go, and if people are really impressed enough with it, we can maybe think about giving them the 1599. So
yeah.
And then, Scott, you real quick, some housekeeping while I got you, but should I deal with Shem around any logos or anything for the hand selected by portion on the bottle, or you?
So yeah, I think we probably need to run stuff through Shem. We'll handle any kind of like sticker stuff. Jason will do a good job deciding that stuff. But yeah, whatever you guys allow, then we can make an adjustment if we need to, like on our end. So whatever you guys need to do, that's fine.
Well, yeah. So you've seen, right? So you've got bottles in front of you there, right? So the only thing I do on our end, as far as a logo, right, is the top right corner there of the bottle. It says hand selected by. I mean, if you and it sounds like you guys are going to do your own secondary, secondary logo on the side, right?
Yeah.
So by all means, I always say have fun with that. If you could keep it as PG-13 as possible, I don't need a new riff situation on my hands.
I think in this situation, Jason, do you agree that probably that sticker in the upper right hand corner? Do you think that should have the Keg N Bottle since it's going to be their logo?
Yeah, I think the stickers should definitely be Keg N Bottle, and we'll do a sticker. We'll do a sticker on the back for our pick.
Yeah,
perfect.
Black Forest Bugaboo, and we'll think of the other one.
Perfect. So the good news to you guys is I already have Keg N Bottle stickers. I believe.
Okay.
So,
oh, cool.
But I'll get with Shem and get that logo on the off chance I don't. But I thought I already did for some odd reason. But anyway, Perfect.
Yeah, we definitely want to make sure that Keg and Bottle gets, that everybody knows it's from them and they're helping us out. And
Yep.
we'll do our own sticker on the back when these are closer to done. So, and just so you guys know, all your names, will be on the sticker. We always like to give credit to where credit's due. So all you guys that helped out will have your own names on the sticker and the pick as well.
No, wait a minute. I got 3 names up there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pick one, Boomer.
I promise.
We'll just run all his names like up the side of the logo. We'll just picture frame the whole thing with his name. So, no,
all right. So I'm really happy. These we got 2 absolutely fantastic. The bourbon is ridiculous.
It's delicious. Delicious.
And the rye is equally unique and ridiculous. So I think we have 2 really great picks for the patrons.
Yeah.
Honestly, for anyone who's watching this, Scott and I will probably get these probably a little bit early before we, while we're, once the bottles come in, and we'll definitely be tasting these again. So definitely get on board, Driftless Glen. Justin, thanks for hanging out tonight.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate everything that Keg and Bottle has done. Driftless has done with us. Everybody who participated tonight, we had a great time, and this is part of what we really want to do is just be involved, get people involved. Try different whiskeys, get different brands, all of these different things. It's kind of what we want to do with the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. So everybody, thanks for hanging out tonight. Everybody, thanks for participating. We greatly appreciate everything.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so Justin, anything else from us? Anything you want to wrap it up with as far as Driftless goes?
Just to echo the thank yous, right, guys? I know you guys have options when it comes to this game, right? So from all of us at Driftless Glen, obviously a big thank you. Your comments tonight couldn't have been nicer. I think I was blushing the entire time. To anybody out there watching who's picked up a bottle of Driftless before, thank you so much. For those of you that are going to pick up these bottles, thank you so much. Of course, Shem and the crew out in San Diego. It's really cool to see where this has come over the last 4 years that I've been a part of Driftless Glen, and to think that we're doing stuff like this now where, I remember sitting at Whiskey Fest in Chicago, my first job at my little table and pop-up signs going, how are we ever going to do stuff like this? So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. I know you all have options when it comes to this kind of stuff. I couldn't be happier that you picked us. So thank you again.
Yeah, we appreciate everything. Will ETA roughly 2 months? Let's just call it 2 months on the high side, give or take. But we think we could probably have those in a couple months or so. So we'll double check all of that. But thanks again for everybody who participated, everybody who is part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. If you're not, you want to get in on the deal. It just through Patreon, link in the description below. All of that stuff, become a kind of member, or whatever you want to call it. And we're trying to do some good things. So thanks again, everybody, for joining tonight. Everyone in the chat, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.